Well, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us this press conference about the Master Limited Partnership Parity Act of 2012. I'm very pleased to be joined by my friends and colleagues, Congressman Ted Poe of Texas, Congressman Mike Thompson of California, Congressman Peter Welch of Vermont, and we will shortly be joined by Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas and Dan Reichert, who I will introduce in more detail later. I know that at the moment some other matter, what is it maybe, the fiscal cliff is consuming a lot of attention in the building, as it should, but the five of us wanted to come together and talk about this idea that we introduced back in June in the Senate and in September in the House, and just quickly, if I could cover the main sort of policy points. Master limited partnerships are partnerships that include pass-through tax structure. It's a pass-through tax structure that avoids double taxation and leaves cash available to investors. It's the best of both worlds in that it's taxed like a partnership but traded like a C Corp, and as a result, MLPs have access to private capital at lower cost than other investment vehicles. It has for more than 30 years been used by midstream energy entities, pipelines mostly, but also natural gas, coal, oil. But under current law, renewable energy, clean energy projects are explicitly prohibited from forming MLPs, which starves a rapidly growing part of our all-of-the-above domestic energy strategy from the capital that it needs to grow. What we are proposing here is something that simply levels that playing field, that follows what is an oft-repeated policy proposal, that we not pick winners and losers in energy technology, and that we pursue an all-of-the-above American energy strategy. Fixing this inequity in the tax code would incentivize investment in capital-intensive projects. It would unleash billions of dollars in private capital into the renewable energy market, would bring new fairness to the tax code by recognizing revenue from projects that sell electricity or fuels produced from clean energy sources as qualifying MLPs. It does not take anything away from oil or gas or pipelines as some other proposals would do. This is, in my view, the opposite of picking winners and losers, and so deserves and has drawn bipartisan, bicameral support, something which is far too rare in this chamber these days. As we said when we introduced the bill, the MLP Parity Act is not intended to be a replacement for or to phase out the production tax credit. MLPs and the PTC actually complement each other, in my view, as part of a strategy for stimulating the energy market and addressing the challenge of renewable energy, which is raising the capital to build infrastructure, but then sustaining it and retaining a viable long-term infrastructure. This bill has gained real momentum since Senator Moran and I first introduced it here in the Senate. Our friends, Representatives Poe and Thompson, introduced it in the House in June. Representative Welch was quick to join and take an ongoing leadership role as well. Many organizations, including Brookings and the Environmental and Energy Study Institute, have released detailed and thorough reports on the value that MLPs can have in the energy market. And 10 new bipartisan co-sponsors have come on in the Senate. More than a dozen environmental and clean energy organizations have endorsed the bill. And today my colleagues and I are joining in sending a letter to President Obama calling for MLPs and REITs, real estate investment trusts, to be a priority in the federal government's all-of-the-above energy strategy. We've been joined in this letter by more than 24 of our colleagues, Republicans and Democrats, senators and representatives in the House. And what we're saying is this: we want to work with the administration on making MLPs and REITs a vital part of the way this government approaches its long-term energy strategy. This is truly common sense legislation that commands bipartisan support in both chambers and can make a real difference in America's long-term energy future. The letter's been signed by 19 House members, 10 members of the Senate, and we'll be sending it to the White House today.